The Atlas Peak Edition is basically Volkswagen's Land Cruiser. I'll include a link to the Orem Volkswagen in the description down below. They're providing us with this Atlas. Also include a link to my car buying guide. Let's get into it. Under the hood is a turbo 2-liter 4-cylinder that goes to an 8-speed. Fuel economy is 19 around town, 25 on the highway, with power outputs being 269 horsepower and then 273 pound-feet of torque. I'm trying to hit 500,000 subscribers before the end of the year. I'd really appreciate it if you'd help me out with that. This is finished in this cool metallic green. You got the nice C shape with the lights. You actually have a light bar here on the front end. No fog lights though, which is interesting, but you do have parking sensors. Altogether, the new Atlas is boxier with the design and I think it looks good. Tire and wheel setup is 255 by 60 by 18. The wheels are blacked out and these are softer all-terrain tires, but they're still somewhat rugged, and you got big fender flares too. Peak Edition badge there on the side. We have the blacked out mirror caps too. And here is your side profile. Again, you can see pretty boxy with the overall design. When it comes to key fob features, we've got the Volkswagen logo there on the back. On the front face, we've got our lock and unlock and then the remote start, as well as the opening for the hatch. Third row passengers do get some ventilation, cup holders, and with the third row folded down, you have a ton of space. Even with the third row folded up, you still have quite a bit of cargo room to use. Did I say boxy with this vehicle? Because look at those taillights or this whole light bar setup. And then those exhaust tips are pretty aggressive, for the covers at least. That will cap things off for the exterior of the Atlas. We got a lot of muscle with this week's giveaway. The first car is a 1964 Corvette Resto Mod with a 500 horsepower small block V8, a 5-speed Tremec manual, and upgraded brakes to give you modern performance. The next is a new Z06 with all of the carbon fiber and the 5.5 liter flat plane crank V8 producing 670 horsepower. On top of that, you do get $60,000 in cash if you win this giveaway to help pay for the taxes. As always, use code BHC or click the link in the description down below or in the pinned comment. This will give you 4x bonus tickets on any donation, $25 or more. Keyless entry for the rear, and let's check it out. We've got a sunshade here for the rear passenger, soft touch there at the top. This is cool with the trim. You got some gray with the orange stitching too. And that theme of colors happens on these seats as well. They are somewhat adjustable. Legroom in the second row is great. We've got a little storage pocket. We have vents here in the rear. We've got our own climate zone to match. And then this one has the captain chair set up, and it also has some access to the sunroof. Now when it comes to the third row, you do have a nice perforated seat back there, and you have decent headroom with the boxy design. But you can see here with the legroom space, it's not super big, so reserve it for kids. Keyless entry for up front. Let's check it out. Blind spot monitoring with the mirrors. You've got more of that two-tone coloration with all the trim on the door panel. Look at these seats perforated down the center. The driver's seat's power adjustable, the passenger seat's manual. To the left of the steering wheel, we do have controls for the lights. Soft touch all around with the steering wheel Peak Edition logo at the very bottom. And then you got practical controls in the front face, including for the screen, your cruise control, and then there are paddles on the back of the steering wheel too. Here's that gauge cluster. It's digital. You can change the information that's displayed within the gauges depending on what you're looking for. Backup camera in reverse. This also has the parking sensors to help out with that. And then as for the screen, it's quick to respond. Everything's pretty user-friendly for the most part. With the climate controls, it is kind of a little bit of a learning curve. I mean, you press the buttons, a little haptic feedback tab and stuff pops up. But yeah, I mean, like, it just seems like a lot of menus to have to dive into rather than just having a physical button to, you know, turn on the heated cold seats or for the temperature. I mean, you got a slider, but I think you guys get the point. A little bit too much happening. They do at least give you some shortcut buttons below the screen to make it a little bit easier to use. And then we've got this whole area with the USB ports. And behind that, we've got our shaver shifter at the engine stop start, some cup holders, and then quite a bit of storage space with some USB port action. Nice trim on top of the center console lid. More nice trim on the dash, just a regular rear view mirror, and then the slider for the sunroof setup. 26 Peak Edition, $51,548. Let's see how this performs. Well, let us set off. I thought we were setting off, but parking brake. Okay, can I just say this? Electronic parking brakes, they don't automatically release when you put the car in drive, or at least if you put your foot on the tap the gas, is the dumbest thing ever. Like, again, an old school brake, it makes sense, right? Because you gotta physically pull the brake off. But an electronic parking brake, it's a different beast. So stupid. These seats are comfortable. And you know, the interior in general with Volkswagens, these new Volkswagens, it's nice. Volkswagen's come a long way when it comes to just interior quality. But what I will say is, again, feature wise, you know, this is missing a few things. Like not having power adjustments for the passenger, I think is kind of silly, especially at over $50,000. Now this 4-cylinder is a little bit peaky, but it's got pretty decent power delivery overall. And you know, I'm interested to see how the European brands end up doing in the US in the coming years, considering they've all downsized massively with their engines, and the American brands have done so to an extent, but not nearly as much. I mean, Chevy's gone all in on the 4-cylinder with their Traverse, but you can get a Dodge Durango with a V8, you can get a Ford Explorer with a turbo V6. So it'll be interesting to kind of see what happens in terms of what people think of the brand and everything, considering the engine options that are offered. And braking's pretty smooth too, so that's a plus. Yeah, it really is a smooth setup. Like, again, 4-cylinder aside, this engine is just, and with the 8-speed, it's seamless. It's a lot better than you would think. Not bad at all. It's pretty quiet in here too. It's relatively insulated. They don't have double paned windows or anything like that, but it's still pretty good. It is peaky though. I'm not too fond of that in this type of vehicle. I kind of just want smooth linear power. It's got a good low end punch, and it's pretty consistent. But yeah, you do get a little bit of kind of boosted feel at the top, which it's not bad. It's just like I said, not preferred in this type of vehicle. Oh, there's more storage underneath the center console. I forgot about that. These new crossovers, man, they have so much storage. It's really cool. That's one of the nicest things they've done in with these modern cars. So yeah, this is basically Volkswagen's Land Cruiser, right? You got the Honda Passport, which is kind of like Honda's Land Cruiser. And with this, funny enough, this is like the same price as a Passport, and it gives you a third row. So it kind of is a little bit of a better value than what Honda's offering, but Honda's got a V6, so you know, you got that going for you. And I think Honda's all-wheel drive system is probably going to be a little bit better than the 4Motion in terms of being able to distribute power off-road and everything. But if you're looking for space in a third row, this thing's definitely got it. So overall, I think that this is one of the nicest Volkswagens that I've ever been in. Like, the interior materials are nice, the build quality's solid, it performs well. I just think that Volkswagen and the other European automakers downsizing their engines, because that's what, you know, the European countries want. It's going to work for Europe, but I don't think it's going to do as well here in the US market, where people want bigger engines with bigger vehicles. You know, time will tell on that, but that's just my 2 cents.